Isya kenapa? Itu kita mana satu lagi yang clickbait itu. Barna. Wait, dia aja. Mana tu lepas tu dengan Dan.
Ano awak seperah gagal. Bila saya chatting lah.
Dear audience, please pay attention. Here are some important announcements to keep in mind throughout the event. First, turn off your microphones and pay full attention while the webinar is in progress. Secondly, attendees are requested to fill out an attendance form after the program ends. Third, if the audience would like to ask any questions or opinion, please write in the comment section. Attendees are asked to introduce themselves first before expressing questions and opinions to facilitate the arrangement of the webinar. Your cooperation is preceded by thanks. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera dan salam mila PM. Yang berusaha Dr. Amar Hamzah Syara'i, Bachelor of EMG 402, Environmental Quality Management. Yang berbahagia Puan Syahidah Muhammad Syahri and Puan Ciala Kamis, Representative of Pertubuhan Peladang Kawasan Segarang. Saudara Muhammad Nufiki Muhammad Anwar, Chairman of Eco-Labeling Webinar and its Executive Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the webinar on eco-labeling. I, Izzat Arzani, will be your MC for today. To bless our webinar today, the Council invited Saudara Muhammad Hanafi Abdullah to lead the prayer reading. Council is welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Gambar. Gambar tu. Sebablah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Allahumma innaka khalaqul azim, innaka sami'un alim, innaka ghafurur rahim, innaka rabbul arsyil azim, innaka al-barul jawadul karim. Ya Allah, Engkaulah yang mempunyai segala kepujian, Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kepujian, Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kesyukuran, Engkaulah yang memiliki segala pemerintahan, di tangan Engkau segala kebajikan, kepada Engkaulah kembali segala urusan. Allahumma ya Rahim, ya Karim, cucurilah rahmat dan rahim ke atas majlis kami, webinar yang diadakan pada hari ini. Berkatilah dia dari awal hingga akhir. Ya fa'alu lima yurid, kami juga memohon perlindungan darimu dari segala perkara yang boleh mencacat silakan majlis kami, dan daripada segala perkara yang melalaikan kami dari berbuat taat kepadamu. Kepadamu juga kami serah segala urusan kami. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adzabannar. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam Muhammad wa ala alihi wasallam. Alhamdulillah.
Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you to Muhammad Hanafi for reading the prayer just now. Next, I would like to call Muhammad Nafikri Muhammad Anwar, Chairman of a collaborative webinar, to deliver his speech. Please welcome.
Thank you, Izzah Ajani, SIMC. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. M.HAMDAN Syari'i as a special facilitator and program advisor, EMG 4102 Environmental Quality Management System, Group 2. And welcome to Puan Shashida Sahari and Puan Suhaila Kamis as a representative from Pertubuhan Teladan Kawasan Sekarang. Next, I invite my guest, my beloved group member and classmate and audience who are here present today. Alhamdulillah. Thankful to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for allow us to participate in labeling and marketing a call eco-labeling for AMG 4102 Environmental Quality Management System webinar. Firstly, I would want to express to my gratitude to our advisor who gets us great deal and valuable information and assist us to do this webinar. I know it will be tough for Dr. Ami because of various limitations by online classes. However, our advisors stay dedicated and provide us with new knowledge. Next, I would like to thank our invited representatives who are agreeing to join us today for success of collaborating the MG 4102 webinar. Also, not forget their classmates and audience. I hope following this competition of webinar, we will be able to use the information presented. We can practical and implement it for benefit of human and the environment. That's all I want to say again. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Muhammad Nafikri, for your speech just now. Before we begin, let's watch a montage video from Group 10. Ladies and gentlemen, to avoid wasting time, I hereby hand over this webinar to our first moderator, Muhammad Fitri. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Izadani. My name is Muhammad Fitri Banwa as your first moderator. For the first part of your unit C and focus, because at last the part we have a quiz and hook session. I hope you all enjoy.
Welcome to part 1 video about introduction of labeling and marketing. Eco-labeling. This video cover about definition of eco-labeling, definition of marketing, history of environmental labeling and conclusion of this part. Definition of eco-labeling. Eco-label, also referred as green label. Eco-labeling is a voluntary method of environmental performance certification and labeling that is practiced around the world. An eco-label identifies products or services proven environmentally preferable overall, within a specific product or service category. The criteria utilize extensive, based on the product life cycle impact on the environment. When developing eco-label criteria, standards for products, the focus is on the stages where the product has the highest environmental impact, and this differs from product to product. Criteria are developed and revised in a transparent way by a group of experts and stakeholders. In addition, product-specific criteria ensure that any product bearing the eco-label is of performance. Taking a look at textiles, for instance, fabrics have strong environmental impacts when they are dyed, printed, and bleached. So, experts have designed the criteria for textiles in order to make sure harm at the manufacturing stage is reduced as much as possible. The label affixed to products that pass eco-friendly criteria. Products awarded an eco-label have been assessed and verified by an independent third body. Eco-labels are usually funded and backed by the national government. Next, definition of marketing. Marketing is the activity, set of institutions, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. Whether American Marketing Association, AMA, new definition now adequately reflects the field of marketing is a worthy issue to address. Focusing on the aspirations advanced by scholars for a definition of marketing that 1. Is inclusive of the larger domain of marketing, 2. Adequately captures the alternative perspectives of those who occupy this domain, 3. Reflects extant scholarship in the academic field of marketing, and 4. Adequately informs and provides guidance to marketing practitioners and others as to marketing's role and responsibility in society. We examine the definition of marketing proposed by AMA in 2007. Marketing deals with identifying and meeting human and social needs. One of the shortest definitions of marketing is meeting needs profitably. Physical goods constitute the bulk of most countries' production and marketing effort. As economies advances, a growing proportion of their activist is focused on the production of services. According to Philip Kotler, marketing management is the art and science of choosing target markets and getting, keeping, and growing customers through creating, delivering, and communicating superior customer value.
Okay, we know about environmental labeling history, which can open your mind about environmental labeling. The first eco-label promoting environmentally friendly practices was launched by West Germany in 1978. The environmental label was created by German Federal Minister of Interior. Then approved by Ministers of the Environment for the German federal states, but according to a 2005 UN report, while consumers have shown willingness to pay more at first, the premium isn't always sustainable. This may indicate that consumers are generally unwilling to pay higher prices for eco-labeled products, it concluded. After the late 1980s, they grew and became more vocal in expressing opinions on environmental labeling. After 92 UN conferences. UN conferences focus on the environment in development, Hochschild, Rosenbaum and Olsen, 2018. This causes them to gain more support in introducing environmental labeling. It is to meet customer demand in the purchase of green products since the late 1980s. On 23 February 1992, the EU eco-regulated label was issued under the Council, EEC, on Community Award Scheme. The rule creates a label of voluntary eco-schemes intended to promote the design, production, marketing and use of products. This thing provide consumers with better information about the environmental impact of products. This scheme is for self-financing. Under this scheme, the eco-label is only given to products that meet environmental criteria. For each product category, these criteria are set based on the LCA agreed to maintain environmental sustainability in order to ensure the well-being of society. The conclusion is that eco-labeling is a market-based policy solution to environmental challenges that does not rely on environmental laws of direction and control. There is reason to be optimistic about the potential of their application as an environmental policy tool to address external problems through market-based information supply. As long as there are a large number of customers who value green products, consumer desire may provide an appropriate incentive for firms to switch to a more green manufacturing process. If consumers are aware of the benefits of this eco-label, it can save the earth, which is now full of solid waste that is difficult to dispose of and has a negative impact on the social economy and more. Therefore, we have to increase efforts to make people aware of the importance of eco-label.
That's a great video from eco-labeling. I hope you all focus because after this we will have to go to Kahoot session with Karen, Elvira, and me.
So I will be your moderator for this Kahoot session. Enter the Kahoot. You can enter the pin above 324473, or you can scan the QR code beside it. We will wait for 30 or more participants before we start this Kahoot. Come on guys, join this Kahoot session. Winners will get e-certificate. Okay, so I think we have enough participants, so we can start this Kahoot session. The first question: products awarded an eco-label have been assessed by verified by an independent third party. Is it true or is it false? Like everyone got it right. The first place is anak-anak Matnur. Next question. Which year eco-labeling scheme known as EcoMark established? I think everyone get it right again. Next. The first place is still Anna. Next. What company has been a marketplace voluntary instrument of environmental policy? And only one person get the wrong answer. Next. Okay, next question. Product category this area are set on basis of an agreed LCA. Everyone got it right. Okay, next. Next question. What are the causes that provide appropriate incentives for firms to switch to a more green manufacturing process? The answer is consumer. So for the third place goes to Patrick. In the second place is Anak-Anak Manor. And first place goes to SpongeBob. Congrats! So for the winners, please provide us your contact number in the chat box to claim your e-certificate. Thank you.
Before we continue, thank you. Before we continue to part 2, let's take a break for a while. During this break, we will present individual.
Today I want to talk about Global Eco-Labeling Network, GEN. Is a non-profit association of third-party environmental performance recognition, certification and labeling organization founded in 1994 to improve, promote and develop the eco-labeling of products and services. Only environmentally friendly products and services proven to have lower environmental impact may carry a GEN member eco-label.
Hello everyone and Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatiha Nadzirah bin M.HAMDAN and my number is 2077185. In this video, I will talk about the objective of eco-labeling. The first objective of eco-labeling is protecting the environment. Ecology nowadays seems to be progressively worse, so it's time to human or people make a decision and efforts towards safeguarding environment. Next objective of eco-labeling is encourage environment-friendly innovation. Some great ideas come from clever mind, but the most successful innovation have been created out to meet needs. Promoting eco-friendly products can help foster the innovative culture that produce their products. For example, some electrical appliances that comply with Energy Star not only use the less energy, but it is also emits fewer greenhouse gases. The objective of eco-labeling is building consumer awareness. Eco-labeling will help increase consumer awareness about the environmental consequences of their choices when they're buying a product, because they will inform better and it can influence their buying decisions, because they will buy the products with more caution and care towards the environment. The fourth objective of eco-labeling is to provide an incentive to manufacturers or importers to reduce adverse environmental impacts of products, and lastly, to encourage citizens to purchase products which have less harmful environmental impacts. That's all from me. Thank you for watching.
Eco-labels are a specific type of product labeling that certifies the environmental performance of products and services. Businesses, private organizations, and governments began developing eco-label as a means to both encourage the consumption of more environmentally friendly products and encourage the use of sustainable production practices. The benefits of eco-labeling provides to these companies can be listed as follows. Firstly, be prepared for continuous improvement. Next, providing quality service. Benefits of the eco-labeling also include to gain the confidence of the parties. Next is to reduce risk and costs. Furthermore, we can continue knowledge of new developments and standards. Lastly, by using eco-labeling, we can create a comparison with other organizations on the same track.
There are many challenges in eco-labeling. First of all, the uncontrolled proliferations of labels issued by various groups or authorities tend to reduce the importance of ecological labeling. Next, the lack of expertise, financial and organizational capacity. After that, when claims are made randomly in advertising and labeling. Last one is limited disclosure of environmental information and portrayal of eco-labels may lead to customer confusion or hesitation throughout the purchasing process. So thank you for watching.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nofranda binti Mamano and my metric number is 20740A. So this is my second video about the eco-label. I will present about the impact of eco-label knowledge. I will present two impacts which protect the environment and encourage innovation. So first one is protect the environment. So it means eco-label is used to influence consumer decision and encourage the product and consumption of environmentally appropriate goods and service. So the second impact of the eco-label knowledge is encourage innovation by offering product or service that reduce stress on the environment. A business can create a positive image among consumers that create an advantage to the environment. So that's all for my video. Thank you.
Hi, welcome. So today we are going to talk about the choosing the right eco-label. This day, the number of new eco-label programs is aimed at environmentally conscious consumers grown rapidly with a limited quality control. By applying a three-part framework, manager can avoid betting on the wrong labels. So what is the three-part framework? So the first one is consumer awareness and understanding. Second, consumer confidence, and the third is willingness to pay.
So let's see the three framework and the main part. Eco-label are widely used as a policy tool to provide consumers with information on the product sustainability characteristics. Choosing an eco-label to score risk. For this reason, we hope that our framework for helping managers evaluate eco-label prove invaluable to companies facing decisions about such label.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Hanafi. I would like to tell about people's views on eco-labeling. First of all, we can see based on this graph, the acceptance of eco-labeling global generally in Europe increasing every year for all countries. Second, from perspective of student, we also can see increasing trend of the use environmental friendly good. It also increase. It can be concluded that society in this world now sensitive and aware of environmental care regardless of age. That's all. Thank you.
Good evening everyone. In this video we are going to talk about eco-labeling in fisheries. The Marine Stewardship Council, MSC. MSC is the major international program for fisheries. It is established in 1996. MSC utilizes independent third-party certification businesses to review fisheries against its principles and standards. There are currently over 40 fisheries that have been certified or are in the process of being certified. But this does not cover fisheries that are currently being assessed. 3 principles of the standard. First, have a healthy and productive stock. Second, ecosystem function must meet certain criteria. Third, must have effective management. The FAO Code of Conduct for Responsible Fishing is the source of the standard. Thank you.
That's all great video. That's all the part 1. I screen. I pass to second moderator, Anna.
I'm Farhana as your second moderator. So let's watch and get some information in video part 2.
Now we will explain about the ISO. There are 4 ISO eco-labeling, namely ISO 14020, ISO 14021, ISO 14024, and ISO 14025. This video explains a little bit about ISO standards related to eco-labeling. The content that will be explained in this video is related to the introduction to ISO, explanation to ISO eco-labeling, as well as conclusions. Before that, let's look back at part 1 about the introduction to eco-labeling. The previous video explains about the definition and history of eco-label labeling. To some extent, the eco-label is also known as the green label, as well as the first eco-label created in 1978 by the German Federal Minister of the Interior. Okay, let's start about ISO. What is ISO? ISO stands for the International Organization for Standardization. The International Organization for Standardization is a worldwide federation of national standards bodies that are ISO member bodies. The work of preparing international standards is normally carried out through ISO technical committees. Besides, international organizations, governmental and non-governmental, in liaison with ISO, also take part in the work. ISO collaborates closely with the International Electrotechnical Commission, IEC, on all matters of electrotechnical standardization. International standards are drafted in accordance with the rules given in the ISO/IEC directives, Part 3. Let's move to introduction of ISO 14020. ISO 14020 is a standard that provides information about a product or service in terms of its overall environmental characteristics, emphasizing specific environmental aspects or any related aspects. In ISO 14020 there is an affirmed principle. In general, all the principles asserted can be applied to all environmental labels and declarations. There are 8 principles in place that outlines the standards that must be followed to guarantee that accurate and reliable information is provided. These principles are intended for businesses that want to create labels or environmental claims. The first principle emphasized is environmental labels and declarations shall be accurate, verifiable, relevant, and not misleading. The second principle is that procedures and requirements for environmental labels and declarations should not create unnecessary barriers to international trade. The third principle is that environmental labels and declarations are based on a comprehensive scientific methodology to produce accurate and reproducible results. The fourth principle is information on procedures, methodologies, and criteria used to support environmental labels declarations also provided to stakeholders. The fifth principle is to take all aspects in the development of environmental labels. The sixth principle is that environmental labels and declarations should not preclude innovations that have the potential to improve environmental performance. The seventh principle is that the process of developing an environmental label involves open consultation and participation with interested parties. Lastly is administrative requirements or requests for information related to environmental labels and declarations should be limited to establish compliance with applicable criteria and standards. Now, we are going to look at ISO 14021. ISO 14021 created a need for environmental labeling standards which apply to all relevant aspects of the life cycle of the product developed. The manufacturers, importers, distributors, retailers, or anyone else who may benefit may make such self-declared environmental claims. The Type 2 Ecolabel is specially for products and services where there are neither criteria nor labeling schemes. It can give credibility to environmental claims made by manufacturers, marketers, and resellers for products or services. Furthermore, ISO 14021 helps in avoiding confusion, barriers to trade, and unfair competition. Secondly, it helps identifies and defines a number of widely used claim terms. And lastly, it outlines each term's evaluation techniques in order to guarantee that they are both legitimate and scientifically sound. The next ISO we are going to look at is the ISO 14024. This ISO establishes the principles and procedures for developing Type 1 environmental labeling programs. It includes the selection of product categories, product environmental criteria and product function characteristics, and for assessing and demonstrating compliance. ISO 14024 is the Type 1 environmental labeling. This ISO is the eco-labeling schemes where there are clearly defined criteria for products. These systems give items or services a mark or logo if they meet a set of standards. In this ISO principles and procedure, it listed the selection of product categories, product environmental criteria, product function characteristics, and for assessing and demonstrating compliance. It specifies the labeling process for certification. Lastly, we are going to look at ISO 14025. ISO 14025 aims to present environmental information about the products accurately and clearly based on its life cycle stages. It also ensures that the life cycle assessment, LCA, and environmental product declaration, EPD, calculations are consistent, such that the completed EPDs are similar across sectors. ISO 14025 is the Type 3 environmental declarations. It is for specific aspects of products using a life cycle approach, and it establishes the concepts and methods for producing data. The declarations allow comparisons between comparable items by displaying quantitative environmental information about a product's life cycle, which it is useful in business-to-business communications in fulfilling regulatory requirements. In conclusion, through this video we learn that each ISO has its own details related to eco-label, but puts environmental principles as a priority. ISO is important as it is created as environmental management guidelines to assist organizations in taking a proactive approach to overcome environmental challenges. Thank you for listening. And wait for next video. Before we move to next video, let's join the simple quiz together. We have 2 true and false questions. First question. Type 3 environment declaration is eco-labeling schemes where there are clearly defined criteria for products. True or false? The answer is false. Second question. Is it correct the group of experts in the Technical Committee, TC, that develops ISO standards? True or false? The answer is true. Great job, guys. See you in the next video. Bye.
Many information we got from that video, such as ISO of eco-label, have the 3 types and have their own function. Next, we continue for cloud session. Okay, let's join Kahoot. Enter for Kahoot with in 856-9021. We wait until 30 to 35 people join this Kahoot. Okay, there. Come on, guys. Die. Come on, guys. Please. Huh? Dah boleh start dah. Nak tunggu berapa minit? So let's start now. Okay, let's start now. Okay, first question. ISO 14024 aims to present environmental information about the product accurately and clearly based on its life cycle. True or false? The answer is false.
Okay, second question is that self-declared for the environmental claim help to prevent from using barriers to create and unfair consumer. True or false? Okay, the answer is true. More people got it right. Okay, congratulations, Shred. The third question is ISO 14020 is the general principle which all some agreement and federation to the answer is false. More people got it right. Congratulations, Shred A. Next question is the principle and produce. The ISO 140 for principle. True or false? Yes, it's true. Look at it right. Try again. Congratulations. The last question is type 1. The uncallable and voluntary manipulation. The criteria are set by a product to environmental places are true or false. The answer is true. 3 people got it right. Okay, the third place, Shrek. The second, Kevin. The winner is Dot. Dot. Congratulations, Dot. Okay, the winner will be given certificate. So,
The presentation number that we paste in the chat board is it automation in Facebook. Okay, before we continue to part 3, let's take a break for a while. During this break, we'll present
The primary function of eco-labeling is to stimulate both the supply and demand of products with a reduced environmental impact. The objective is to provide guidance to consumers which has considerable implications with regard to economic efficiency and the flow of information. In fact, it will reduce costs of our consumer manufacturers and retailers by lowering the time and effort needed to obtain and provide relevant information on life cycle consideration and green products. At the same time, products eco-label can give you guarantee that their compliance with established ecological criteria has been tested by independent third parties, which is the national and regional eco-label competent bodies. Information as used by the scheme is one key character of a market-based environmental policy. Diffusing information about the environmental effects of a product during its whole life cycle will be essential in order to support sustainable consumption patterns.
Assalamualaikum and hi. I as an environmental student want share about the type of product use eco-label. First product is detergent, consists of soap detergent, body wash and other. The second product is baby body wash. This very helpful for the mother and father to use. And the last product is food packaging. Why this product need eco-labeling? Because company need to convince consumer about product safety and it can able to protect our environment. That's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. In this video, I will explain about eco-label can support sustainability. With eco-labeling, consumers will know that the product used can be recyclable. Eco-labels are affixed to products that pass eco-friendly criteria laid down by government, association, or standard certification bodies. Product award and eco-label have been assessed and verified by an independent third body and are guaranteed to meet certain environmental performance requirements. With this eco-labeling, is able to have environmental sustainability. That's all from me.
Hello everyone and Assalamualaikum. I am Fatiha Nadzirah. In this video, I will share about eco-labeling scheme, which is SIRIM. A product can be placed as an environmentally friendly product when it is certificated under the SIRIM eco-labeling scheme. SIRIM eco-labeling scheme must provide a product with a competitive advantage over similar products in the environment-centric market. The SIRIM eco-labeling scheme has been recognized as Malaysia National Eco-Labeling Program. Okay, next, what are the benefits of SIRIM eco-labeling scheme? The first benefits of SIRIM eco-labeling scheme is provide independent confirmation that your manufactured goods meet environmental standards. Second, increase your product's acceptance in foreign green markets where green items are valued more. Third, contribute to environmental preservation and protection. And lastly, improve your customers' perception of you as environmentally conscious company. How to apply for SIRIM eco-labeling scheme? There are nine ways to apply for SIRIM eco-labeling scheme. First, submission of questionnaire. Second, issuance of quotation. Third, submission of application for factory audit. 5, document evaluation. 6, sample selection and testing. 7, recommendation and approval. 8, surveillance. 9, renewal. That's all from me. Till we meet again in the next video. Thank you.
Have you ever wondered if your product that you are buying are safe for you to use? Let's see if you have found or watched this label on your product before. Have you seen this label before? Did you know what is the function of those labels? Seems like you didn't realize those labels yet. Come, let's watch what are those labels for. So now you have a better idea about those labels, right? Don't forget to share with your friends, family, and loved ones to encourage their shopping pattern as well.
Hi, my name is Noor from the Binti Mamano and my Instagram is 20748. So this is my third video about eco-label. So I will present about awareness. So I will start now. Consumer awareness of the environment and prefer for the more environmentally friendly product is growing around the world. So the Malaysian government has also responded to this trend very positively. But a Malaysian consumer ready for the eco-label? So the result is very encouraging. With a little exposed to environmental related experience, Malaysian consumer will certainly respond positively to eco-label. In fact, for situation they require them to consider the environmental aspect to the product they want to buy. Eco-label will definitely be an important factor that will motivate them to make the right possession choice. So that's all for this video. Thank you.
Hi everyone, so there are many types of eco-label electronic in this world. So here is 4 important eco-label electronic that we need to know. So first and foremost, Energy Star USA. It adds aggressive products and buildings that meet energy efficiency benchmark set by the US Environmental Protection Agency. The next one is EU Energy Label. The focus of this label is saving energy. Each product category has a density level. Next, EPID Global. It is a global rating system for greener electronics. The rating criteria generally cover over 10 categories, including energy conservation, product longevity, and many more. And the last one is EU Eco-Label. It can help consumers to identify products and services that have a reduced environmental impact throughout their life cycle. So thank you for watching.
That's all for part 2. I will pass to the third moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Fana. I'm Nelly, your next moderator. Now let's watch video part 3 about benefit of eco-label.
Hello everyone. As you guys have watched the video on ISO 14020S, Now let's continue to part 3, which is about the benefits of eco-labeling. In this part we will explain why we need ISO standards for eco-labeling, who develops ISO standards for eco-labeling, who are benefiting from ISO standards for eco-labeling, and what benefits will it bring to the industry. Before we move to what are the benefits of ISO standards for environmental labels, we need to know why do we need ISO standards for environmental labels. Environmental labels provide information about a product or service in terms of its overall environmental benefits, such as the recyclability of its packaging, or the absence of noxious ingredients. At a time when more and more consumers are motivated to purchase environmentally benign products, this information can positively influence consumer choices, creating a win-win situation for all. However, the increasing proliferation of such labeling has led to concerns of greenwashing and exaggerated marketing claims. What is needed, therefore, are internationally agreed and harmonized criteria and methods of labeling to provide a credible and level playing field. Next, did you guys know who develops ISO standards for environmental labels? ISO standards are developed by groups of experts within technical committees, TCs. TCs are made up of representatives and international experts from industry, non-governmental organizations, governments and other stakeholders who are put forward by ISO and its members from all over the world. Each TC deals with a different subject or specialist area. ISO standards play a fundamental role for some parties. Let's take a look at who is benefiting from ISO standards for environmental labels. There are 4 parties that will receive the benefits. The first one is an industry where ISO standards for environmental labels help businesses create their own environmental labeling that effectively and accurately describes their products in a way that instills loyalty and trust in their customers. The second one is consumers. They will get the benefit when businesses use ISO standards to provide clear and accurate information that can be easily compared with other products and services. The next one is regulators. Regulators can rely on ISO standards as a solid base on which to create public policy that meets international commitments to help them establish and measure criteria for environmentally related incentive schemes. ISO standards also help regulators address the many challenges that climate change brings. Last but not least, the governments where they received benefits in a reduction of environmental pollution due to a product and services. There are many reasons why an industry should take a strategic approach to improving its environmental performance. Users of the standard have reported that ISO standards for environmental labels helps demonstrate compliance with current and future statutory and regulatory requirements, increase leadership involvement and engagement of employees, improve company reputation and the confidence of stakeholders through strategic communication, achieve strategic business aims by incorporating environmental issues into business management, provide a competitive and financial advantage through improved efficiencies and reduced costs, encourage better environmental performance of suppliers by integrating them into the organization's business systems. Organizations using ISO standards for environmental labels have found success across a range of areas, including reduced energy and water consumption, a more systematic approach to legal compliance, and an improved overall environmental performance. Examples of success with ISO standards for environmental labels are shown as below. Firstly, is Premier Foods. Premier Foods enhancing relationships with stakeholders and staff. Since 2001, they have used ISO standards for environmental label to make big improvements such as increasing their organization's recycling rate. They have now been at zero landfill since March 2013 and are recycling and reusing 100% of their site wastes. They have continued to improve their relationship with neighbors because they have the processes in place to respond quickly to any concerns. Among other benefits, their processes and the appointment of Green Matters champions ensure that staff are environmentally engaged and aware of the site's potential impact on the environment. Next is Upcon Corporation. Upcon provides services to lift up sunken concrete floors using its unique Upcon method. Achieving certification to ISO standard for environmental label in 2008 allowed them to document effectively the details of their method for all staff to share and standardize the quality of work at every site. In addition to boosting their competitiveness through more accurate quality control, ISO standard for environmental label also strengthens their confidence in their method by demonstrating that it produces 90% less CO2 emissions when compared to concrete replacement. What's more, since their certification, staff engagement and motivation have increased, safe in the knowledge that they are contributing positively to the environment through their products and services. That is all for part 3. Thank you everyone for listening. Now, before we continue to part 4, let's have some quiz session. Quiz part 3. Document effectively the details of their method for all staff to share and standardize the quality of work at every site. Which company gets this benefit from ISO standard for Ecolabel? A. Premier Foods. B. Upcon Corporation. And the answer is B. Upcon Corporation. Next, do self-declared environmental claims are under ISO 14021 environmental labels and declarations? A. True. B. False. Do you guys want to know the answer? Let's watch the final part, which is about what is environmental labeling and declaration?
Alright, that is the video for part 3. As you guys have watched this video, now let's continue for the next Kahoot session. Everyone can join the Kahoot session now. The pin is 8725758. We are still waiting for the players. Come on guys, let's join our Kahoot session. We still need 2 people. Alright, I think we can start our Kahoot session now. Alright, I think we can start our Kahoot session now. The first question is true or false. ISO standards are developed by a group of experts within technical committees TC. Is it true or false? The answer is true and everyone got it right. The first one is Hanafi. Next question. Environmental labels help businesses create their own environmental labeling. Which party will get the benefit from it? Industry, consumer, regulators, or government? The answer is industry. 3 people answer government. It's okay. You guys can try again. And now the number 1 is pink. Next question. Eco-labeling will give benefits in the reduction and environmental pollution due to a product and services. Who get benefit? 3. Consumer, regulators, or government? The answer is government. Congrats to everyone. Pink is still number 1. Next, the 4th question is, which one of these are the benefits that regulator can get? The answer is quite long, so everyone please read it carefully. Yes, that is the right answer. Establish and measure criteria for environmentally related incentive scheme. So the last question is, document effectively the detail of their method for all staff to share and standardize the work quality at every site. Which company get this benefit? Premier Food or Upcan Corporation? It is stated in the video just now. Upcan Corporation. Everyone answer it true. So the winner goes to number 3 is Hanafi Jahat. The second one is Yasmin Chomel. And the number 1 winner is Pink. Congrats to all the winner. And the winner, please give your number in chat box or comment section in the YouTube to claim the certificate as the present. Thank you everyone for joining the Kahoot session. Before we continue to the last part, which is part 4, let's take a break. During this break, we present to you our individual video.
Hello everyone, today I want to talk about company produce eco-labeling. The first and the most popular company is Blue Angel with the blue logo like this, and another company such as European Union Eco-Label, NF Environment from France, and Eco-Labeling from Canada. These all companies, it is triggered for the existence of eco-labeling and can be used until now. Eco-labeling.
And my entry number is 20740A, so we are label and perceive environmental sustainability. So green marketing can be defined in 4 P, which are green product, green price, green place, and green promotion. For the green marketing in Malaysia and around the world, such as is IKEA, almost all of the product by IKEA come from the most sustainability resource. So that's all for my video. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm Yasmin, your class moderator. Before we continue, let's watch video part 4.
For the part 4, we will discover about what is environmental labeling and declaration. In this part, we will take a look on the important terms, recommendations, and conclusion for the eco-labeling. Environmental eco-labeling and declaration. Environmental eco-labeling and declaration is one of the tools of environmental management. It provides information about a product or service in terms of its overall environmental character, specific environmental aspect, or any aspect. One of the ISO that have been used for this environmental eco-labeling and declaration is known as ISO 14020. This ISO 14020 is a general principle, establishes the guiding principles for the development and use of environmental labels and declarations. There are three types of ISO 14020. Type 1 environmental labeling is for eco-labeling schemes where there are clearly defined criteria for products. Second one is Type 2 is self-declared environmental claims. This Type 2 is for products and services where there are neither criteria nor labeling schemes. And the last one is Type 3 environmental declarations. This Type 3 is for specific aspects of products using a life cycle approach. General Principles. General Principles is under ISO 14020, Environmental Labels and Declarations. It is intended at businesses who wish to create an environmental label or claim, as it explains how to ensure that the information they supply is accurate and credible. It lays forth the principles that support all of the other 14,020 standards and can be utilized by people making environmental claims for which no specific standards have been defined. Eco-labeling schemes. Eco-labeling schemes is under ISO 14024, Environmental Labels and Declarations, Type 1 Environmental Labeling, Principles and Procedures. These systems give products or services a mark or logo if they meet a set of standards. This features the principles and processes for selecting product categories, product environmental criteria, product function characteristics, and assessing and documenting conformity are all included in ISO 14024. It also defines the labeling procedures for certification. Self-declared environmental claims. Self-declared environmental claims is under ISO 14021, Environmental Labels and Declarations, Self-declared environmental claims, Type 2 environmental labeling. It identifies and defines a number of regularly used terms and claims, whether on the product or elsewhere, such as product literature, advertising, or reports. It also explains the processes used to evaluate each phrase to verify that they are legitimate and scientifically sound. Let's recap back what we have learned before. There are three types of environmental labeling and declaration, which are Type I, Type 2, Type 3. Type 1 is one tools of environmental management, and it is a subject of the ISO 14000 series. It provides information about a product or service related with environmental character and specific environment aspect. This Type I of environmental labels and declarations, it also related to other applicable standard in the ISO 14020 series are ISO 14021, 14024, and ISO 14025. For Type 2, the function of environmental label and declaration are developed one recognized label which will make the customer trust the labeling. Improve the image and sales of the company. Take into account the environmental impact of the production process. Raise awareness of environmental issue and problems among consumers. Help the protection of the environment. Type 3 is about the parties that benefiting from ISO standards for environmental labels. The parties that benefiting from ISO standards for environmental labels are customer, manufacturer or industry, governance, and regulatory body. So, let's move to the recommendations. For individual or consumer responsibility. All of us, as a consumer, we must spend little more time discovering the environmental impact of product. Other than that, we also must more conscious of environmental concerns and issues. As for the company and manufacturer responsibility, a firm should take into account for the environmental impact of their production. They also need to fight to have eco-labels. The governance or regulator body should establish policies and guidelines for manufacturing firms. Other than that, governance also should mandate out relevant factories and industries to follow the environmental management scheme. In conclusion, environmental labeling and declaration are a subject of ISO 14000 series to inform about a product or service in terms of its overall environmental character, specific environmental aspect, or any aspect. Eco-labels and green stickers are labeling systems for consumer products that are practiced around the world. For example, Surim is a recognized labeling system. Eco-label is voluntary, but green stickers are mandated by law. Environmental labeling and declaration have developed throughout many proper stages with the certified organization to ensure its credibility of environmentally claimed during the life cycle of one product or service. Thank you for listening.
Now, the current session, I call on everyone to get into the session. The session will not only test your skills, but also the winner will receive an e-certificate. Okay. The game pin is 7302804, or you can scan a QR code. Okay. Okay, thank you. I think that's all from me. I will pass to our MC. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the end of the conversation just now, then our webinar ends today. For today, the webinar is enabling educators will help you to remind the audience to fill out Google form or scan the QR code that will be displayed at the end of the program. The QR code will be open for only 5 minutes before it closes. A reminder to all the Kahoot winner, please contact the numbers at the chat box to claim your certificate. Finally, Ariza Zeni, as the MC of the webinar today, would like to apologize if there were any mistakes of communication during the ceremony. Before we end, let's have a photo session together. With the end of the photo session just now, we have reached the end to our webinar today. Thank you for joining us. You may leave this webinar after filling in the attendance form. Hope to see you again. Thank you and Wassalamualaikum.